So, did I get a lemon or is there a known issue with the H2C? Let's find out. Hey everybody, welcome back to Forge and Firewall. So as you can tell from the title, we're having issues with the H2C. Now, as you guys seen in some prior videos, the prints are coming out awesome. But I started noticing down the line that certain things were coming detached off the plate in certain areas. I also noticed horrible initial layer quality was very bad, and also top layer quality, final layer. And I ignored it initially. And then I started noticing some things getting a little warped in certain areas. And I was like, this can't be, this machine's very expensive. It can't have some of my cheaper machines being able to make better first layer quality. So I dug deep. I did some investigation on the printer. I did some research online, and we'll get to that later. But I started saying, you know what? Let me start doing some tests. I did some little tests on some wording on a little template, on a little piece of plastic, with some wording just to test it out. It wasn't coming out perfect, even though I turned in the initial flow rate really high. I did all the tips and tricks you can think of to it. So what I did is I took the build plate out, cleaned it up, made sure everything was nice and clean. And when I did that, I noticed a ding on the magnetic plate. Now, obviously, I've never ran it without the magnetic plate. I haven't had it that long. This actually is something from the factory. It looks like the tool head might have hit that area. It's in the back right corner. And I'll put up a picture so you guys can see it. So I said, you know what? I ran full bed calibration. And then I ran a first layer, full first layer on the left nozzle. And it started printing from the top left. And I'll be putting up the pictures probably as I'm talking about it. I was disappointed, to say the least. It was looking horrible. Was pretty much see-through. Like the tool head was digging right through the layer area. Then it started getting nicer, but still along this back, the right edge going down, if you're facing it, it still had that horrible surface quality. Then we started getting, and actually along all the perimeter, it had that bad surface quality. And then towards the middle, it started, not towards the middle, there's certain areas where it looked awesomely clean. And then there's certain areas where it had patches and it looked very light in some of the center area, like, the whole potato chip. So I was like, okay, we just did the full mesh calibration and it started off horrible. What does that tell you? There's obviously a bad warp in the bed that the eddy sensor cannot compensate for that warpage. So I let it finish. I took some photos, some video. I wrote up a whole report on what I did. I went through all the wikis. I tightened up all the bolts, all the nuts, everything they recommend you do. And I wrote a whole engineering level report to Bambu support with the files, with the photos, with the explanation. And I also extracted the log files off the device so they can see that the bed was level, the mesh, and all the calibration. Because like you could see on Clipper, like if you were running a machine with Clipper, you can see the bed level meshing, the mesh, or like any other device really that's open source, you can see the mesh of the bed to see where the points are bad or good or what have you. Well, Bambu doesn't allow you to see that, but of course they can see it. So what they do is they'll extract the log files, and I'm sure they're encrypted. I didn't look at it, but I'm pretty sure they're encrypted. They're not going to make it that easy for people to see the bed level. It's probably proprietary software where they put it in and look at it anyways, being that it's their own firmware and so on. I went ahead and got that, wrote up the whole report. I also explained, and I'll put a quick so you guys could see it. I'll probably scroll through it, but I was fairly upset at that moment. It's an expensive machine, and I have seen in the past where they'll probably send you the bed to go ahead and replace it, but I don't think that's fair. And time is money, and of course I can do it. Like I've done things like this majority of my life. But the point is, I didn't think it's fair that I bought a new machine and out the box, it's not performing as it should. And I'm going to give you guys more examples of some of the quality that I have seen on the top layer, surface quality. And so I told him, I'm not going to really accept anything else other than either a new device or something along those lines, or a refund, because it's really upsetting. I got a little Karenish, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's truly not fair. And so I went ahead and I sent that in. It's like nothing's funded here. I mean, I pay everything out of my own pocket, so nothing's free. I created the ticket, put in all the information, send it out. The reply I got was disappointing, to say the least. They gave me a boilerplate brushing off, telling me, oh, first, quality issues are standard in 3D printing. Just go ahead and go through the wiki. This is normal. And I was like, excuse me? They obviously read nothing of what I put on there. They completely disregarded all the technical information I supplied them. The fact that I went through all the wikis, I did the bed mesh leveling and all this. So I wrote them another report, told them how disappointed I was with how dismissive they were. I asked to be escalated to a senior engineer and not level 1 tech support, because obviously they had no idea what's going on. I wrote that up and I explained to them again how disappointed I was, and not to mention that they completely ignored that there is a ding on the metal, on the magnetic plate from where the tool head crashing into it way before I got it. And then I sent that in my disappointment, and let me tell you, not even 8 hours or something along those lines, I'm not exactly sure, had passed. And then I got a legitimate response, apologetic response, very professional, very apologetic, telling me that they're really sorry for the dismissive response and the issue they had on their side, server side, trying to read the uploaded files that I uploaded, the log files on the device. So they said, please go ahead and do a cold reset on the device, do a recalibration, let it heat soak, or let it soak for 15 minutes before pulling the log files again. This will allow the files to be uploaded and saved to the memory without issue. And go ahead and resend it in, and we'll look in this and get it fixed for you, or fix the issue or what have you. So I was very pleased with that. And I told them, this was, I believe, on Tuesday or Monday. And I told them, look, I work in critical infrastructure. I'm very busy during the week. I won't be able to do this till at least Friday night. Please leave the ticket open. They said, no problem. Go ahead and take your time. This ticket will be open for another week or so if you don't reply, if you don't have the time. So here it is, Friday night, calibration's running. I'm gonna go ahead and play some footage of me getting the calibration going. I just thought I would start the calibration first because it takes time, and then shoot the intro. So here's the footage of getting the calibration ready. After this should be when the calibration's done, and go ahead pulling the log files off. And because this is going to be multiple parts, we're going to see their reply next and see what goes from there. We had a lot of projects set up that we haven't done yet. There's a cool light switch project. We'll get to that. That's functional part we made completely from scratch. We still haven't done the bench yet, but it's been so hot. It's been so hot. It's almost impossible to work outside where I'm at. But we'll get to that. We have quite a few projects that I want to start shooting. We've been really busy, haven't been able to, but we will get to it. Printer kind of slowed us down because I'm still printing on it, but I want to make sure everything's set in stone, see where we're at, and go from there. Here's that calibration footage. We're going to go ahead and do a cold reset first. Pretty much means, see, the printer's actually on right now. So we'll go ahead and turn it off, about 20 seconds. Calibration. We're going to do print calibration. We don't need motor noise cancellation. We don't need vibration compensation. We don't need nozzle offset. We do need auto bed leveling and high temperature auto bed leveling. Let's go ahead and start that and let it do its thing. We'll come back when it's done. We'll do the heat soak for about 15 minutes, pull the log files off, and then we'll go ahead and get that ticket ready to send it in to them. Okay, so calibration is now complete. We can hit OK. Now we're going to do a 15-minute rest period. After that, we'll be back to extract them and put them on the thumb drive right here, the flash drive. And from there, we'll go inside and upload the information to the Bambu ticket. But what I'm thinking of doing afterwards is go ahead and running another first layer test on the right nozzle, so we can get more footage of that for the video. 15-minute timer. We'll be back. Okay, 15 minutes are up. Let's go ahead and pull off the log files and put them on the external storage. Where are you at? Export log to external storage. Export key photos from camera. We don't need that. That's already there. Export print G code. That's not necessary either. They just need the logs. We'll let that export and we'll be done. And the logs have been exported. What we're going to do real quick is create a first layer test print in Bambu Studio to test the left nozzle. Add primitive here. We're just going to add a cube. Go here to the dimensions. We want, first of all, move uniform scale. Let's go ahead and create the height first. We're going to do one layer, so it's going to be 0.2 layer height. Then we're going to scale this out, and we're going to try to cover as much as the bed as the left nozzle could handle, right? Which is everything not in this gray area right here. So we can go a little more here. I'm not going to go too much. We're going to pick a filament. I know they're PLA, what I have in the left nozzle AMS. Let's go ahead, I believe. Yep, here it is. It's number 4. So we select this, hit 4. Now, let's go ahead and print it. And we'll send it. And then I'll get you guys some footage right off the bat as it starts to see how well it does. I'm back. For you guys, it's been literally no time at all, but I noticed after I hit print, if you guys look here, we have the cool plate, which is not what we have on there. We actually have the textured PEI plate, if you guys recall. Send her off. Well, what I'm going to do is play the videos that I was recording on my phone, and we'll go over them with live narration of the first layer print, of the disappointing first layer print, and then we will go to some close-ups of some parts I've made in the past. There have been worse ones than this. I just didn't have pictures of them, and it's kind of late, so I'm not going to go ahead and reshoot any. So here I'm pulling it off one of the corners. As you can see here, look at this. We already got bald spots. It's ripping. Sorry for that, guys, but I was holding it. So you can already see the bald spots, but look at here. This is important to tell. So a lot of people would say, oh, you just need to add more flow ratio on the first print. Well, if you look in other places, it's completely solid and nice, while we have bald spots in other places. And you will see a close-up, and I'll show you pictures now. Actually, the corners are kind of too close to the bed. I'm sorry, too close to the nozzle, while these parts are too far away. And that can't be fixed with leveling or bed tramming, because the bed is like a potato chip or a wave. Let's keep going through this. I mean, this is obviously horrible. Look at this. It's going to break right now. There you go. And then you'll see here, look at here. In this area here, it's completely solid, and you don't see through it. Here, solid, but look at in this corner, you start seeing the over extrusion, or I would say not over extrusion, but too close to the bed. And you're going to see it more in this bottom right corner here. And I got closer up photos of that, but you can see it here. Look at this.
So this is exactly what we need.
Exactly. This is what we're talking about. So check this out. Like, this corner's horrible here, obviously. But if you look down here, look at this. This is bad. This can be fixed because there's good patches in between them. This is a horribly leveled bed or a horribly warped bed. Or there's something else wrong with the machine, with the way the tool head is moving across the rails or what have you. This can't be fixed with settings.
You can see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so that was a close-up on of when I was out there. I was still printing at this point. This is just some photos with the screen in the back so you can kind of see through it. Now, I'm going to show you a couple prints. These aren't the best, but this is what I have right now. And I showed you guys the initial layer we did, but for example, you can see here, right? Look at this. This is the first layer. I believe this is PETG. You see this? The corners were side because it went through one of those areas where it was not really good. So this does affect some structure and integrity. Here we go again. Another. You can see the center is not close enough to the bed. It's not getting that squish that is necessary for a good solid print. And this is why I was getting lifts on some other prints. Look at this. This is horrible. This is a $2,500 machine. And you know, I do a lot of Hue Forge. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but this is where a special software that someone designed where it actually prints awesome photos in 3D printing. So they're layered and you can see a lot of its first layer, and you can see, I'm just going to let it play, how it just looks horrible up close. Look at this. I can tell you right now that a Bambu A1 would smash this and you won't see any of these gaps. Now let's move to the next one. This is, I printed this for my niece. It's Resident Evil. Look at this. See, this is bad here. Shouldn't look like this. It should be much smoother, less gaps between these lines. These looks like hashes. H2C quality is unbeatable, or any H2. And I believe I've been looking online. Multiple H2s have this problem. And that's pretty much what I wanted to show you guys for prints. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for this video. Which is probably going to be a part 2, possibly a 3. I'm not 100% sure. We're waiting for Bambu's response. We'll see what kind of runaround or straight to the point they get me. I went over the evidence here. This is not how it should be out of the box. Anyways, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Please stay tuned. Like and subscribe to keep up to date. Love you. Take it easy.